Welcome to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Marie, a courage coach, creative soul, and adventure seeker. Since through hiking the Pacific Crest Trail in 2019, I'm on a mission to help you embrace your most confident self so you can achieve your dreams too. If you're eager for deep conversations, big questions, and meaningful connections, join me on the quest to discovering how we can create a more magical and memorable life. Hello, nerds. How are you? I'm good. Really good, actually. This week, I want to talk about changing identities. And this might be a bit confusing, but you'll understand what I mean as I give you a bunch of examples. My first example is from a coaching call that we had last night with my clients, which was super interesting. And there was a person in the coaching call who told us about how they want to build a business that allows them to make $100K a year doing something that they love. But they have a lot of resistance to this idea because they've worked in the nonprofit world in the past and have those beliefs surrounding money that makes it really hard for them to own the fact that they want to make six figures and to also believe that it is possible for them. Because they've never made that much money, it's like it seems strange. It seems unlikely. So there's cognitive dissonance in their mind between the part of them that wants this. They want this flexible lifestyle where they have the resources to go on adventures and not be tied to a 9-to-5 job. But there's also a part of them that doesn't think it's possible, or maybe even think it's wrong. So there's two identities there. And the only way to embody the identity that you want to go towards, is to let go of the old one. And I was asking them last night, that version of you that you want to become, how do you think they behave? And they said it's like a completely different person. And yes, that's what it is. You have to become a different person. And obviously you're still you. You're still you at your core, but you have to shed all of the beliefs that have made your personality. Because personality is a word that comes from persona, and that is wearing a mask, right? It's like theater. Our personality is the character that we play in society, and it's made of a bunch of beliefs that we've adopted as we were growing up. So you have to get rid of your personality, of all this conditioning that feels so comfortable. This conditioning is like what's helped you out in life, what's made you you in a way, what you think has made you you, but it's not really. Let go of that and discover who you can be. That's really scary. That's what Tara Brach calls taking off the spacesuit. The spacesuit is everything, all the protection mechanism that have helped you survive in the world we live in. Now, taking that spacesuit off seems like the worst idea because you're naked in the universe, open to being hurt, open to being rejected, vulnerable. That's the only way. It's the only way to build a different reality for yourself. There's no shortcuts. Joseph Campbell, who invented the hero's journey, he analyzed a bunch of stories and came up with the 3 arcs that you can see in every story. Okay. In the first one, we're setting up the stage. Like, this is the world we live in. These are the characters. Here's their relationships. And then in the second part of the story, something happens, and then the hero has to solve a problem. And they're going to do everything they can to solve the problem in an easy way. Okay? In a way that doesn't cause inner turbulence or outer turbulence. But at the end of the day, they're going to realize that in order to fix the problem, they need to be vulnerable. And the last thing they're going to do, they're going to take their courage and they're going to do the hard thing. The hard thing that they kind of knew they needed to do in the first place, but they wanted to avoid. It's the only way they're going to transcend the problem and come up with a real solution. Do the most courageous thing. I read something on Instagram that expresses this really well, and it's from Xavier Dagba. So he wrote, sometimes when people say, I don't know what to do, what they actually mean is, I'm not ready to accept the potential consequences of what my inner knowingness is inviting me to do. And that's what I see with like 95% of my clients. They just want to avoid the hard thing. And I'm going to give you an example that many of you are going to be able to relate to. Let's say you studied something like engineering or law or medicine, the kind of jobs that typically take a long time to study, and they're well regarded in society mostly. So you've spent like 4, 5, 6, 7, even 10 years studying, and then you end up in a job or in an industry that you don't really like. And it happens sometimes. And there are ways to like it more, but sometimes the truth is, this is not your purpose. This is not the place you want to be. And I've seen that in so many clients. But it's gut-wrenching. It's gut-wrenching when you've spent so much time, when you've invested so much money, and when everyone looks up to you. You have stability, you have status, but you don't have the spark in your heart anymore. Or maybe you never had it. You just took that path because you thought that made sense, and you thought that's the way I should be going. But the further you get on that path, the more depressed or disconnected from your true self you feel. Because that's not where you want to be, but it feels like there's no other way. It feels so scary. But when you manage to be honest with yourself, to say, you know what, there's something else I want to try. I might not know what it is yet, but I know this is not it. There will be so much freedom. And yes, there will be fear also. There will be fear and freedom because you're changing identity. You've built up this identity that pleased everyone around you, that made sense. And now you're saying, I want to take off that spacesuit that everyone's used to, that I'm used to. And I'm going to be naked. I don't know what I'm going to wear yet. But you have to go through that transition in order to find the fulfillment that you seek. And I know it's uncomfortable. That's why I work with my clients to build comfort in the discomfort, to build safety in the uncertainty. And that, my friends, is a skill that changes your life. I'm going to give you another example. Going from thru hiker to business owner. I mean, I don't like hiking that much anymore. No, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that I don't prioritize it in my life. But it was weird because for the longest time, I just identified so much as a hiker and as a thru hiker. And that's how I built my community or my audience on Instagram around thru hiking. When I started talking about life coaching, about personal growth, so many people left, right? And at first it hurt because to me, it was kind of like people said, you're no longer interesting. I don't like who you're becoming. When I was loving who I was becoming. So there was cognitive dissonance there. And many people would have wanted to just run back. Run back in the comfort of knowing who you are and knowing your place in society. But I just kept going and I changed my narrative around that. I decided to think, oh, you know what? My people are going to say, and those who don't enjoy the party, they're going to leave, and that's fine. They're going to go to a different party that has their musical taste. They just don't like my musical taste. And there's going to be new people that are my people that come to my party because they like my taste. And that's fine. Doesn't mean people don't like me. Doesn't mean I don't like them. Just means we have different taste, different values, maybe different priorities. That's it. But there was a moment there where I was hanging in a sort of void in that identity shift. I mean, I wonder what it's like for trans people, trans folks. That must be a very challenging identity shift. It's like, oh, it would be so much easier if things could just, if I was happy in the body that I was born with, but I'm not. So in order to free myself and to be who I want to be, I have to go through this shift. And I don't want to talk for them. I actually would love to do a panel with trans folks to talk about their experience and what it represents in terms of personal growth. So if you're listening to this and you're a trans person, please reach out if you're willing to share what it was like for you. I think that would be a really insightful conversation. Okay, so I'm going to give you one last example. One of my clients was a police officer, and they left after 15 years of service. It didn't align with their values and their needs and desires anymore. But this shift was bittersweet because they said when you become a police officer, when you learn to be a police officer, it's not just a job, it's a vocation, and it changes the person that you are. It changes your belief system. And now that I'm no longer a police officer, I have to rewrite this belief system. I'm in the void. This is no longer who I want to be, but this is how I defined myself for so long. So, what now? What now? It's a blank page. And if you've ever sat in front of a blank page, you know how uncomfortable it is, but we have to be willing to sit in that discomfort. So ask yourself what you need to let go of in order to fly. That sounds cheesy as hell. In order to be the person you most want to be, what do you need to let go of? What's the safety blanket that you're holding on to? Are you willing to take the risk to let it go just for the chance of being the true version of yourself? Yes, you might lose things with that safety blanket, but you're going to gain so much more. And as you think about this, also ask yourself, the person you want to become. Actually, it's funny because to me, that's not self-improvement. It's like self-reconnection, or I'm sure there would be a better word, but it's shedding the layers so you get to the true you, the most empowered version of you. So that most empowered version of you, how do they think? How do they behave? Think about this and start practicing those thoughts, practicing those behaviors. And if you want to take this process to the next level, if you want this transition or this change of identity to be a lot more fun, to be de-dramatized, to be quicker, to be supported, then join us in Brave and Bold. In Brave and Bold, not only there's me to guide you on the journey, but I also give you the tools to make that journey so much more manageable. It's a step-by-step process that you follow. It's so much easier than if you were left on your own. It's faster, it's fun, and there's also the other Brave and Bolders to share your growth, to share the struggles, to celebrate the successes. And let me tell you, people in Brave and Bold are some of the kindest I've ever met. Actually, pretty close to the people I've met on the Pacific Crest Trail. Kind, funny, raw, creative, wild. What else? I was going to say dirty, but no. They're all in, and they're willing to open up their hearts and to be there to hold space when other people open their hearts. And that's what makes this space so special to me and to them. So I hope you join us. If not now, then in the future. Today is Monday, May 16th, the last day to enroll to be in the spring group. So if you have applied and you've been accepted, you have until 7 p.m. EST to enroll. And if you have not applied, you can try to apply. And if I have time, I'll send you the training. You get to watch it and make your decision really fast before 7 p.m. Otherwise, stay tuned for your next opportunity to join. And I will talk to you next week. Bye. You just listened to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. Make sure to subscribe and to find me on Instagram at Self-Growth Nerds. If you want individual help developing the confidence to create a more meaningful and exciting life, visit selfgrowthnerds.com today to learn how. Finally, I want to thank my friend Etienne Galano for editing this, and I want to thank you, kind-hearted souls, for growing into your truest, most courageous selves every day and making this world a better, more beautiful place. My name is Marie, and I will talk to you next week.